Okay, so we are on our section 2.1, general info, vocabulary handout that's in your packet. Just going to go through, we're going to start a section where we have to learn about frequency tables. Okay, so first up, first word to fill in is frequency table. Okay, it's the organization of data in table form using classes and frequencies. Okay, going forward, this is kind of our bread and butter. As far as if we make these tables, then we can make descriptive statistics from them, as far as making some graphs and doing some basic things like that. Okay, so that's why we're going to go through and study them. Okay, now within the table, okay, this is the second word. The smallest numbers that are actually in a frequency table are called the lower class limits. Okay, lower class limits. Okay, smallest numbers that can actually belong. Okay, lower class limits. Okay, well, and then if there's a lower side, what else is there? There's lower class, there must be a, yep, higher, or actually they specifically call it upper class limits. Okay, upper class. We got a lower class limit and an upper class limit. Okay, so like if I were doing a little something here and I say, I have this column called class limits, and I say I go from 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, or whatever the case is. Okay, the numbers on the left side, the small ones, that's your lower class limit. The numbers on the upper side, that's what they're calling the upper class limit. Okay, and again, it's not super hard words, but at least you know the right words. If you're reading something or directions have them in it, you know what they're talking about. Okay, now the fourth one is something called class boundaries. Class boundaries. So if I'm using this same little quick example here, and I'm just kind of making this up. Okay, so if those are the class limits, do you notice that between each interval, like it comes to 4 here, then we skip and come to 5, 9, skip and come to 10. So there's a little bit like 9.4, 9.5, whatever, that we left out, okay? So these, I say, are not continuous, and these aren't actually on your sheet. I'm just kind of doing like a sidebar explaining. So we have these things called boundaries. Boundaries allow us to become continuous. Okay, so like if you thought of a little number line, 0, 4, and then it goes 5 to 9, here's this gap I'm talking about here. Okay, so think about rounding. You all know how to round numbers. At what point going this way would I round a number, up or down or whichever way? See if I'm asking that the right way. Like if I said 4.5, would that round to something if I told you to round it to a whole number? To what? To 4 or to 5? 5. Okay, so what happens is at 4.5, it's going to round up. What if I'm at 9.5? What's it do? Rounds up, correct? So I can go up to but not including 4.5. So all these on the left side go this way. Anything 4.5 and higher go the other way. Okay, so in a boundary sense, we write it like this. If I'm at 0 and I back up by a half, I'm at 0.5. And then I'll go to 4.5. Then it goes 4.5 to 9.5, going across the number line. 9.5 to 14.5. Okay, so then you're thinking, but you're repeating this, yes, so that I'm continuous. So we say on this side, up to but not including this 4.5. If you write it using inequalities, like you guys would have done in your Algebra 2 or Pre-Calc, it could be like from 0.5 less than or equal to x less than 4.5. So it includes this, but not this. Does that help explain? Okay, but those are called boundaries. And again, we'll work on those as we go forward, but it allows things to be continuous as you go through. Okay, last couple things as far as calculation goes. Okay, fifth word, the midpoints of the classes are called marks. Marks. If you remember the M goes with midpoint. Okay, M and M. Marks and midpoint. Okay, so like if I were doing a mark for this little deal I'm messing with over here, get out of the way. So if I put a mark in this, I would just take 0 plus 4 divided by 2, and I say that the mark is 2. Does that make good enough? Okay, and then let's see. Sixth is something called the class width. Class width. Okay, class width. This guy's important because it kicks off how to create an actual frequency table from scratch. Okay, but width is always the high value minus the low value divided by number of classes. Okay, so high minus low divided by number of classes. So if you are looking at, we had some data, what else do I want to tell you about that? Why don't we say this? Also round up, I just thought of that. So like, if I had something where I had a high value of 50 and a low value of 10, and maybe I said, I want 5 classes. So it'd be like 40 over 5, which is 8, okay? But if it says to round up, you still round up to the next number. So I would use 9 for the width. Okay, or if pretend I did one and I had a width come out to be 3.1. I'm just pretending, I'm just making this up. So I would still round up to 4. No matter what, it's not true rounding. So no matter what that number is, you go to the next one. If you don't, your table won't be big enough. Okay? All right, then there's some other information there. Probably to wrap it up, over on the right where it says constructing a frequency table, step 1, there's a blank. It says as a guideline, the number of classes should be between, and that blank should be between 5 and 20. Okay, over to the right. Okay, so then on the back, you've got some information about relative frequencies and cumulative frequencies. Just real, being kind of brief, relative frequencies are decimals. You're just taking the individual frequency divided by a total. Okay, so that's what that says on the back. And cumulative frequency is a running total of things. And again, that's kind of highlighted up in the next video. Okay, so that's kind of your basic introduction to frequency tables.